Welcome back to the Roanoke Presents From Print to Podcast. I'm your host, Liz Long, and today we're talking about one of my very favorite topics, travel. Whether it's exploring a new city, hiking a stunning natural landscape, or planning that once-in-a-lifetime bucket list trip, the way we travel has the power to shape unforgettable experiences. Today I'm joined by Judy Miron of Martin Travel, an expert travel advisor who has helped countless clients turn their dream vacations into reality. From cruises to custom itineraries, she brings years of first-hand knowledge and insight to every journey she plans, and experiences herself, as we're about to find out. Most recently, she embarked on an incredible adventure to Australia and New Zealand. I'm so excited to talk about this. And today she's going to share those experiences with us, as well as her best tips for anyone hoping to follow in her footsteps. I have to admit, I'm personally very excited for this conversation because New Zealand is actually really high on my own personal bucket list. As you might know, if we've ever had a conversation for more than 5 minutes. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, so visiting the Shire movie set has always been a dream of mine. So, Judy, I cannot wait to hear about your travels. Thank you so much for being here on another episode.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I cannot wait. As soon as I heard we were talking about Australia and New Zealand, I was like, sign me up. I'm already in. Don't even need to know anything else. But so let's just dive in. Let's talk about this experience you had.
Sure.
First off, how did you choose to travel for this experience?
Sure. And by the way, I would go back in a heartbeat.
Of course you would.
Absolutely go back in a heartbeat. Everybody always says, oh, it's too far to go. It's like so many hours to go that way. And I'm like, okay, the only thing is there's so much to see between these two countries that you're missing out if you only go right. And you only go to Europe or you only go to this. Go left. Go and see those countries. They're magnificent.
I'm so excited.
So the way we chose to do it is we wanted to do it by guided vacation. Mm-hmm. We wanted to have someone who has the expertise that I certainly don't have in that region unless I've actually been there to experience it myself. So certainly there were things that were included on this tour. It was an 18-day tour. People probably say, oh, that's plenty, right?
No way.
No,
you barely scratched the surface.
No, there's so much more to see. So we added stuff on the beginning and stuff on the end. So we can include the things like we're like, well, if by some chance we don't ever get to come back, I want to see these things, of which
course.
The Hobbits are definitely what I wanted to see. So yeah, it was magnificent. And I'm glad I did it both ways, being able to see it from the guided perspective to the things that I have to do just on my own afterwards.
Right.
So yeah, it was great.
I love that you have the guided tour too, because I think about, so we were talking just before this started, I've traveled domestically, but not internationally yet. And so I think about, money exchange and all the currency and questions and languages and all the barriers that you might face. So
all the details.
The details especially. So I love that those challenges can sort of be met head on with somebody who knows what they're doing more than I would.
And if there's any problems, they're there also to hit those head on.
To save my you-know-what, my bacon. So tell us, how long were you in each country? Because you're talking about an 18-day span. Like you said, you're barely scratching the surface.
Yeah, it was about 2 weeks in each country.
Okay.
I will never forget years and years and years ago, maybe 30 years ago, one person wanted to go for just 2 weeks for both countries. And I looked at him, I said, that's really not advisable.
So I'm foolish to assume that is possible.
I'm like, you're going to come back exhausted. You're going to be moving so fast that you really don't get to enjoy what you have just seen in the short time. First thing he said when he called back, he says, you were right and I was wrong.
Now
I should have stayed longer.
Right, and now you just want to stay there forever.
Yeah.
Wow. So you should really allow a really good chunk of time for each location.
Yes.
Because
number one, it takes so long to get there.
Of course. So, right. You're losing, a day and a half, 2 days even to really just get there.
2 days.
2 days. Whew. Well, it's worth it, I hear.
Exactly. Now, it doesn't take 2 days to get there. It's just the time zones, the way the time crosses over.
Yeah.
It's 2 days.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit in terms of jet lag, because I'm sure that's a big question that you get just in terms of any travel, but especially when it's that big of a trip.
Right. We expected to have a lot of jet lag, and we were very surprised when we arrived there to say, wow, I have lots of energy. I'm not jet lagged at all, and we were raring to go.
Yeah.
I think it's because just the way the globe is going left, and I'm sure I don't know all those details.
Like Superman.
Yeah, like Superman. But going left, the jet lag wasn't there. When I came home, total jet lag.
Did it take you like a full week to recover?
It was horrible coming back because I'm like, okay, now there's the jet lag I know.
And of course, you're just wishing you could go back on vacation to your wonderful trip.
Yeah. So great. Just great memories.
That's amazing. So talking about, before we go to talk about recommending your clients the best way to explore, I want to think about the time of year, because that's obviously very important, especially being that they're literally on the other side of the world.
Right. So their seasons are opposite ours.
Right.
So when you're looking at times that people want to go, I mean, just think about people when they go to the beach here in the summer. It's hot.
Uh-huh.
So if you go in the summer months, which for them is like December, January, February, then you're definitely looking at it being like our summer weather. We were there and blessed to be there when the Australian Tennis Open was going on in Melbourne. So we got tickets for that, which was like unexpected because I was like, oh, they match up really well.
Yeah.
But that's really hot season for them. So, definitely when it's beginning to be fall for us, it's beginning to be spring for them. So any time between the spring and the fall is great, because it's just, it was magical. You definitely know there's no tours even offered in our summer. They're winter.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay.
Because that's not the season.
Because they don't want
Just
you there.
not
It's
the
not good.
season.
Yeah. They want you when it's a lot of fun and bright and sunshiny.
Right.
So let's walk through your vacation because I know you mentioned penguins and I got to know. So like you stepped off the plane. What was the first thing you did? Like you landed first in Australia or New Zealand?
We landed in Melbourne, which is Australia. And I will tell you the first thing we saw as we're leaving the airport, to the left we look and we see this huge field. Can you imagine what I saw in that field? Kangaroos.
That was going to be my guess. But
I like tons of them. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And he was like, oh yeah, they just hang out in that field all the time. I'm like, that's the first sight
by the
I
airport.
got to see by the airport. I'm like, what? But yes, it was amazing. We had prearranged a tour where we had left sometime in the afternoon. And this tour was taking him to one of the hot spots that I would say of my entire trip, which was Penguin Island. It's very, very popular. More. And on the way, they make a stop at one of the animal sanctuaries. So that was my first experience to be able to be very close to a koala.
Oh, my gosh.
You can actually go to many of those wildlife sanctuaries. This one was excellent. It was called Moonlit Sanctuary. And the reason I loved this one, and they were so smart to pick it, is there were a lot of kangaroos just hopping all around, wallabies just hopping all around. You could get some food and you could feed them. Certainly there were ones that were behind fences, but it was like really firsthand, really awesome.
Gosh.
And then you could pay at any sanctuary all over Australia, and we did at every single one to be able to have an experience with one. We started off with the koala was like right in front. Oh. Then the next one we got to hold his back. And then the last one we got to actually hold him for 5 seconds.
Like a Disney princess.
It was like crazy. But yes, and so the wonderful thing about the penguins is that, not to get sidetracked, is that when you get there, it's an amphitheater. So they sit you in this amphitheater, and you pay for that. There many people probably get this wrong because you have to do the specific plus to be able to do that.
Sure.
The others are way behind a fence, way back. So basically, these penguins, every night, thousands of them, they put a note that tells you how many penguins came across last night. They've made all these burrows all in the hillside and all around the edge of the boardwalk, and they just burrow for the night, and then they go back out. And so, you see these, the dusk is coming, which is when they come in because they don't want to have the birds come and pick them up and take them off. And so a few of them will kind of go onto the beach and go, oh, no, it's not ready. And they'll just go back and they'll just trips back into the ocean, and then they'll have a few more. And then when they get about 50, they'll say, oh, safety in numbers. And then they'll start waddling as fast as they can. And you see them coming in from this ocean and then coming right in front of you as they go up the hill or around the boardwalk to go find their home for the night. Imagine 1,000 of them.
Oh my, I can't.
Amazing.
I can't even wrap my head around.
Amazing. The cutest little penguins. So cute.
With the cutest walk you ever saw.
Yes.
I mean, it's nothing. I'm sure it's nothing like, I could scroll Instagram all day and look at the cute penguins, but seeing them in person is probably just an entirely different experience.
Nothing like
Especially that many at a time, like in their natural habitat, just looking for a place to sleep that night.
Yeah.
Just wild.
So good.
So I like...
Matter of fact, on our tour, there were some people that had not done that. Mm-hmm. But when we came back to Melbourne, because Melbourne's not the first stop on my tour, it's Sydney. But when we came back to Melbourne before we went to New Zealand, I was telling several people about how wonderful it was, and they took some time away from the tour to go do it.
Well, yeah, I would too.
Because they were like, I want to do that too.
Right, because here's the thing. If you're going to spend this time and energy doing this trip, like, I really want to do it up. I'm not just going to go stand behind a fence and look at things. Like, I want to be in the immersive experience, right?
Exactly.
That's incredible. So what was the next sort of like big thing that you did after you saw penguins?
So the next day, my husband wanted to go and see the 12 Apostles. Now, what that is these formations of rocks along the coastline.
Okay.
And so we had picked another guide to take us privately up and down the coast on Christmas Day, thinking nobody's going to be out because they're going to be eating.
No way.
so packed. We had a hard time finding a parking spot.
Wow.
Everybody else was doing the same thing.
Because it's summer there.
But you would think they would be at home eating their turkeys, right?
No, we want to enjoy the beautiful day, obviously.
Yes. So, yes, did we find lots of perches to be able to see all these? I mean, like, they say they're 12, but they're really only 9 now.
Yeah.
But it was just that if you Google the 12 apostles online, you'll go, oh my word, these are huge monstrosity of these big rock formations just along the coast.
Right.
And on the way back, the guide said, you know what, can we make a quick stop? And we're like, oh, okay. And so he says, we're going to go to this golf course because I know there's a bunch of kangaroos that just like to hang out there. And so we stopped there, and there was this old couple sitting in a chair just relaxing on Christmas Day. I'm like, oh, hello. And they're like, yeah, we come here every day to see the kangaroos. And we looked out. We could see joeys in the pouches of the kangaroos and tons of kangaroos just enjoying the nice golf course.
That's amazing. Always trust your tour guide, by the way, because that is something that you wouldn't get otherwise. That's amazing.
Exactly.
So we're not going to go day by day because I don't want to you got to experience for yourself. But so we're still currently in Australia. So what were some of your other favorite activities that you did while you were there?
I'd never been to the Sydney Opera House.
I've only seen the photos. I mean, they're amazing, right? You have to go.
I don't know if you watch NCIS Sydney, that they have that show. They show all of that every time. And I always wanted to see that. And so
it's iconic. You got to.
We went there actually inside and did the tour inside the Opera House, which was really, really cool. And we had such a good experience. That night they were going to show a play. It was, I can't remember now. But anyway, it was a really cute one. And so we bought tickets, went back to the Opera House that night and saw a really nice musical. It was a Christmas musical. It was great. They have lots of ferries in Sydney, so you could just kind of tap every time you want to get it on with your credit card, tap, 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 and you can go all over. We went to Taronga Zoo one day across the way, and then other places too. Just it's a great way for them just to have people going around what they call Sydney Darling Harbour. You're just going around all the different areas there. Really good eating establishment. So Sydney was so friendly. If you can imagine, every time we were out, somebody would stop me if I had a map out. Ma'am, can I help you?
I love that.
I'm like,
it's like the South on
steroids.
steroids.
So no, my husband's taking a photo. Next day, same thing. But I'm like, okay, then I'll go to another city, and it just wasn't as friendly. Sydney was super friendly.
Oh, I love that, though.
Super
they just want to help you out, and I'm very clearly a tourist.
Very, very much. Very much.
I love that.
Yeah.
Anything else for Australia that really stuck out in your mind? I mean, kangaroos, that's such a...
Kangaroos
you gotta
and
see
wallabies. Definitely, we went to Uluru. Some people don't include that on their tour.
Okay.
We wanted to. It's the big Ayers Rock, the big orange rock in the middle of nowhere, in the center. And so it was really. I put it down as one of my iconic things. I actually even did a tour that morning where I actually got to just sit and hear a bunch of historians talking about things like Native people as the sun rose up over Uluru. Oh, so, in my opinion, it is worth seeing. Yeah. It's very, very beautiful. But it's just one of those destinations where I felt like Australia was all about the animals. Definitely iconic sites. Those are some of the great things. Bondi Beach, there's big surfers and big waves at Bondi Beach off in the suburbs of Sydney. So that country was all about the animals and iconics. Right. Now we move over to New Zealand, totally different.
Yeah, that was actually my next question, because we're talking about all your adventure, but what do you think made it so different? I mean, just immediately, your first thought.
Well, New Zealand was all about scenery.
Okay.
All about scenery.
All right.
It was, everybody that wants to do outdoors things are very hikers, bikers. We used to see people, I feel like they were carrying their whole big
their whole life
mattress on their backs. I mean, they were just all over the place. That was so totally different than when you were doing it in Australia, because Australia was all about, I think, the animals, that sort of thing, is composed to the scenery.
Plus, you get the city life, like that urban experience in Sydney Opera House. I mean, that kind of thing.
And if you don't like sports in Melbourne, you're not going to fit in, because everything is all about the sports there. Sports. That's their big thing.
Sure.
I mean, it was a very financial district kind of thing, all about Melbourne, Sydney, totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different atmosphere.
That's so interesting. I love that you get all these different vibes because I think there's a misconception that New Zealand and Australia are very similar.
Yeah, not at all.
And that's not at all.
Not
Whether
at all.
that's just something you see on TV a lot and your brain plants that on you, but like it sounds like they're incredibly different. Which country maybe felt more adventurous to you?
Definitely New Zealand.
Okay, just
Definitely
the
New
outdoors
Zealand.
experience and the hiking and the scenery.
Right.
How interesting.
Right.
So, if you're exploring more of the natural landscapes, it sounds like New Zealand's a fantastic place to go.
Right.
Maybe how do you feel like the natural beauty of New Zealand compares to Australia's? Two totally different spots.
Different things. Yeah, just totally different things. So, for instance, some of the sites that we really loved is when we were in New Zealand, we went to Milford Sound. So, we're on a boat, we're seeing all these beautiful formations and waterfalls and whatnots. And then when we come back, we get on a plane and then we fly over those beautiful Alps, the New Zealand Alps and the Fjordlands. And it was breathtaking. 9,000 feet. We're talking, these were big mountains, but just beautiful. And so something like that. And then Mount Cook, where you can maybe sometimes see all of it because it's one of those things sort of like if you go to McKinley, 30% actually get to see Mount McKinley in Alaska. Right. Well, Mount Cook's kind of the same way.
Okay.
When we were leaving that morning, we got to actually finally see the tip. Everything else was covered up.
Wow.
It's just such a beautiful, again, the lakes were beautiful. Actually, the lakes reminded me a lot of Canada because they have this kind of a lighter tinge, like almost like a teal color. And I know when I was definitely in Canada, they called it glacier flower, and however much stays on the top is how the color is of the lake.
Yeah.
Many, many, many lakes in New Zealand were just that beautiful teal color because obviously they'd had some of the snow just kind of drift right into the lake.
Yeah.
And it is just, so beautiful.
Even more, amazing than your screensaver. Way better in person.
So beautiful in person.
Well, and let me ask you, because, we're talking about the outdoors, but it sounds like you got around pretty well without having to put on a backpack and a hiking boot and go up a hill. Like, this is pretty, would you say it's accessible for those who might not be necessarily interested in hardcore hiking, like adventuring, but you could still make the trip pretty easily?
Oh, yeah. I mean, because in many places where we're there, people say, if y'all want to go hiking, there's some hiking trails around there. You can go do that. So, absolutely. There were many of us that were doing that. I didn't go as far as some of the others.
Right.
I broke my ankle last year, so definitely not up for some long 7, 8 out, 6, 8 kilometer, whatever, hike. But, yes, you can absolutely do that. You can certainly do things like that on your own. There are a lot of young people doing it on their own. But definitely, I just think the advantages of a guide is they just know so much stuff you just don't know.
For one, if I get lost in New Zealand, we are in big trouble.
I mean, one of the things we did that was super cool when we were in, I think it was Queenstown. Yeah, Queenstown. We got to, when we came back, we got to go and see a sheep sharing event. We went on a actual steamship. Basically, you could go down in the hole and see the things churning.
Oh, old school, yeah, like
really
history.
old boat.
Yeah.
They call it a steamship, and then it goes across the lake, and you end up at this awesome, beautiful, really homestead feel kind of a home. Had a nice dinner, and then afterwards we all got to sit down and watch how they have one of their sheep dogs do all the gathering of the
herd
sheep.
them all up.
I mean, they don't have to talk to them.
Oh yeah, working dogs are serious.
Oh, no, it's
they
the
don't.
eyes.
Yeah.
And even they always. Several people asked me while I was on my trip, "Did you see the dog didn't say anything? The dog didn't do anything. He just looked at him." I'm like, "Yeah." It gave him the fear of God. Yeah. And he would, make him come down, and they put him in the pen, and then he sheared a whole sheep for us. So we're like, "Oh, that one piece."
Yeah.
How you do that, I don't know. But anyway, so that was super fun. So a lot of fun experiences I'd never done before.
That's really neat. That you might not even know you want to do, and then you see it, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I never thought about this experience."
Absolutely.
Oh, that's so cool.
Absolutely.
Well, obviously, one of the biggest experiences that I always think about when I travel is food. And you'd mentioned some great places in Australia. So Australia and New Zealand, however you want to form that. But let's talk about the food.
Really good food.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried some fish in Australia I'd never had before, but it was very popular, called barramundi.
Okay.
And it was a white fish. I don't like fish. I don't like to taste the fishy smell sometimes, fishiness of fish. But I love this fish.
Cool.
I mean, I had it different ways, from grilled to blackened to whatever, and it was really good. But it's definitely, obviously, something everybody else enjoys because they had it everywhere we went.
Right.
You want any barramundi? Oh, of course.
Everybody wants it. Was there anything unusual besides barramundi that was maybe, very culturally significant?
Not really.
Okay.
Nothing.
But just a standard great meal.
Nothing that I tried anyway.
Yeah. Well, we did talk about a meal that we're going to talk about here in a second when I nerd out on the Lord of the Rings stuff. But so, in thinking about the off the beaten path, was there any maybe a hidden gem or a spot without giving it away to everybody, I guess, but something that really stood out to you is like, I would have to come back here no matter what when I make my trip back on the other side of the world.
Well, I would definitely want to spend more time in Auckland because we really only stayed 2 nights there, and I wish I'd stayed longer. Mm-hmm. There is more to see up there that we felt like we wish we had seen. There's even a show, I think, on Netflix. It's Ariel, New Zealand, and I was watching that. I'm going, oh, we were there. Oh, yeah, we were there.
I love that when you just I've been there. I know exactly where that is.
But I'm like, oh, we didn't see that. Oh, we missed that.
Now you got to go back.
So yeah, but definitely our highlights, I think, were Penguin Island.
Yeah.
For sure. Mount Cook. I mentioned the animals were a highlight for me for sure. Definitely that steamship. I didn't expect that.
I've
never seen a cranking steamship, and you actually can watch the gears moving. That was just crazy.
I love when you're surprised by something you didn't expect, though. Like, I think that's always, like you said, it really sticks out in your mind as, wow, I didn't know I'd enjoy that as much as I did.
And I always like to fly. I flew over glaciers in Alaska, and the same thing. When we flew over Milford Sound, I'm like, not a lot of us did that, but we chose to, and I'm glad I did because it was breathtaking.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Just beautiful.
Oh, that's amazing.
So kind of repetitive, but yeah, that's the highlights.
No,
it was just wonderful.
Well, and so to get into, the thing that I really want to talk about, I'm a Tolkien fan. I have to ask if you visited any of the filming locations. I know we don't have to get the specifics because there's a zillion of them. But, there's the Hobbiton and the Shire, the kind of the movie set that they've had that you can, tour up there and sort of walk around for a little bit. And I can't wait to go there myself. Were you able to experience that too?
We did. That was one of the things we added to the post of our trip because we wanted to be able to go and see that because that was on my highlight.
You're already over there.
Highlight list. So definitely, we did stay one extra night, by the way, in Christchurch, and we went to see we went on a train that went through the mountainside, ended up at a cute little town, and came back. But we're going to talk about animals in a minute. I'll tell you what
that's a whole other section.
Animal was eating on a car, and I'll tell you about that one in a minute. We'll just keep you in suspense, okay? Didn't know animals eat a car, but okay. But yes, so Hobbiton is about 2.5 hours from Auckland. But they take you there, and they literally take you around every single thing that they have built there, which is huge. It's all built around a lake. They did it very well. Mm-hmm. When they finally were through with all the filming, they made it permanent. And so it gave people an opportunity to go and see those things up close and personal. I probably have 50 pictures of every single shire that I wanted to see.
For sure.
So that I can actually experience. And they even have one now that you can walk through. This is his bed. This is his tub.
Yeah.
This is where he eats. This is his chair.
None of us can fit in these, by the way, because they're for hobbits. But
so little. And just amazing the way they did it. And they did it very well. So highlights for me, for sure, in New Zealand was Hobbiton.
Oh, I love that. 100%. And did you get to enjoy a meal while you were there as well?
We did. We had a huge spread with our ticket. We were under a tent, and they had a huge buffet that was so much to have, and desserts and everything. Every kind of food imaginable they had. Really, really well done.
I hope
so if you have a chance to do
full.
a meal with it, do the meal with it. It's worth it.
Like a proper hobbit. Yeah. Who goes to Hobbiton in the Shire and doesn't eat like one? Come on, man.
Yep.
We put a pin in it, so now we're coming back to it, the wildlife, which that was one of the first things you mentioned when we walked in here to talk about the episode, because you, not just kangaroos and wallabies and koalas, but tell me about this car situation.
Yeah, well, we saw some animals that I don't think really I knew about before I came.
Yeah, you see kind of the horror stories on social media about giant spiders and stuff.
I'm glad I didn't see any. No spiders for me.
Okay, good.
Only the good animals. And so we went to places, we'll leave that one at the end. But we went to places like Hartley's Crocodile Adventure. Oh, boy. Where you're in a boat.
Oh, boy.
And there's crocodiles all in the water.
My husband was just talking about the bayou last night. This scares me.
Something to eat on a stick off the side of the boats. Mm. And then the crocodiles are teased, and they come in and they just they eat it.
Judy, I'm not sure that's for me. I got to be honest. It's a little scary.
It was so good. But of course, there was another koala encounter there, so I had to do that one. So I could. Okay, there's my another koala again. Then we talked about the kangaroos being everywhere. The wallabies. Now, do you know the difference between a kangaroo and a wallaby?
I do not.
Okay, so a kangaroo. If you see a kangaroo, he's mainly like he's lying down. That's how he relaxes. Yeah. That's a kangaroo.
Okay.
If you see, and he can be 8 feet. He can be tall.
Yeah, I've seen them huge.
If you see a smaller, like a little over 3 feet one, and he's just kind of sitting on his haunches, that's a wallaby.
Huh.
I didn't know the difference either.
I wouldn't have known the difference either. Okay.
I was taught that difference.
Thank you.
So that was a lot of fun. And then, of course, the kiwis we talked about. And then also we talked about the penguins, rather. But there were kiwis. We got to see them in nocturnal areas. So in other words, we go into a place, the lights are completely out. And that is the bird of New Zealand.
This is what I think of when I hear New Zealand.
On my little desk.
Amazing.
And so they're so cool, but you have to see them in a dark environment because they're nocturnal.
Right.
They don't come out.
And they're teeny tiny, right?
They're very little, about this big.
Yeah.
And so, we got to enjoy them and seeing them, walking around and doing stuff. And then we went, that day we were extra and went on the train ride. When we stayed longer, we saw this animal in a parking lot eating on a car. And we were like, what is that? And the person said, that's a Kia. I'm like,
the
Kia?
car?
Like the car? Like K-I? I don't know. Kia as in K-E-A. I'm like, what? And literally, they have the capacity to be as smart as a 5-year-old.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, super smart animals. And so you have to be very careful because they're everywhere, and you have to shoo them off your car because they'll love rubber. They love to eat the rubber.
Oh my gosh,
on a car.
That can't be healthy.
And we went to a restaurant down the road, and we saw them jumping on the tables, and just everywhere. They're not afraid of anybody.
Is it
one? But they're beautiful. You have to look at them.
Yeah.
They're beautiful birds. Beautiful birds. But they're pesky. Pesky birds.
And wicked smart, so they're probably going to be in your way a bit.
And wicked smart. Yes. So it was just fascinating to watch these stealers of things.
That's hilarious. Well, I love that you really saw so much wildlife there, and none of the scary stuff, which I really love.
I was really worried about that. I was worried about snakes and all that kind of stuff.
I used to emulate. I really used to love Crocodile Dundee growing up, but that movie probably kind of scarred me.
Yeah, and mosquitoes love me. I expected to be eaten alive, but no, they didn't like me either. So I'm like,
is that because of where you were, or was it the time of year? Because I'm interested in that question too.
It's the summer. You would think they'd be all out, right?
Right. I can't even step outside right now in September in October without getting eaten alive. So that's interesting.
So I don't know.
Huh. So you talked about breathtaking natural spots. What do you think is your favorite? If you had to pick, would it be Mount Cook? You think?
Favorite place in New Zealand?
Well, either way,
yeah.
I guess we'll switch to New Zealand first because we covered Australia. But
I would say my favorite was Hobbiton.
Okay,
because that's
obviously
one of my big draws I wanted to see, and the reason why we stayed longer, was to be able to go there and see the shires and just kind of think of those movies and how they must have done them and how amazing they were.
I could dream about it all day.
So colorful, reds and greens and yellows and teals. All the doors were so different colors.
I love that.
Gorgeous.
Whoever owned that land was very smart to figure out how to. If people were going to show up on your door anyway, you might as well have some Shire stuff for them.
Absolutely.
Well, so let's talk about the actual trip, though, because you, being part of Martin Travel, you know the ins and outs of travel. If I am just so green to all of this, what's my first step? Obviously, I'm going to reach out to you to be like, please, I want to go to Australia, New Zealand. How do I make that happen? What are some nuances or things that I really should think about when we're talking about planning this kind of trip?
Certainly budget.
Yeah,
you have to think about budget.
Number one.
How you want to do it. And again, sometimes it is a mix. You want to have that guided experience, but yet maybe you want to have a few days where you want to do your own thing. Right. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Right. And do you use the agent help with getting the tour stuff together? I think that's so great because there's probably a zillion to choose from. And then, of course, if I don't know which direction I'm going, I need your advice. Like, that's critical.
Right. So definitely we even have companies that we deal with that do private things. Like I have, somebody that I'm working on right now, and they just want it all to be private. They don't want to be with 24 or 44 of their new best friends. Right. They'd really rather do it on a private way. And there's nothing wrong with that either.
No.
And there's nothing wrong with having that mix. I mean, look at us. We did 2 private tours and added it to, a guided vacation, and then also did some things on our own at the end.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes it's warranted to do it all different ways. So, certainly budget is the first thing. Time. How much time do you have?
Right.
Maybe you only really have time to do one country and do it right.
Since you mentioned 2 weeks in each, that's probably, until I retire.
Not everybody
and have
has
the time.
that 4 weeks. Certainly the person who's retired has more time to do that. Some people are going to say, well, I can only go once. I might as well do the whole thing.
Sure.
And then I would really recommend that 3 to 4 week stay for sure.
Yeah. That's
Absolutely.
amazing. Plus, like you said, you have to think about the travel bit too. That's not, you got to tack those on your days.
Right.
But I love that
in New Zealand, you've got north and you've got south.
Yeah.
And you have to fly in between them.
Right.
And so you have to determine maybe you only want to see the southern islands as opposed to only not going to the northern, just see the southern. Or maybe the north and not the south. So those are things play a part in the time element of what people want to do.
Right. And some of that might depend on what you want to do as far as like if you're really hardcore into hiking and outdoors versus you want to be a little bit more in the city or learn more about the history of the area you're in or the locals and the natives that are part of that. Like, I think that's a big difference too, obviously. So your interest level is certainly high.
We had a great native experience when we were in New Zealand. We were able to be on one of the city, waterways, and we had somebody teach us how to do a paddle properly and make the sounds that they do when they are when they're going. I don't even remember all of them now. I'd have to look at the video.
Sure.
But I remember laughing my head off just trying to figure out, okay, we got it now. We got it now. But, the boats were beautiful, number one, and just that, just hearing them talk about, how they're meshing with the people in that area now after all these many years. So there's lots of really good history and stuff that you just can't find it on your own. Yeah,
I won't grill you for the details, but I love that you get to learn a little bit about those generations of culture coming together. I mean, like you said, they kind of have to blend to some extent with the city's kind of
Well, one of the things that is always a great thing with this vendor that we used is that every tour they use a one night stay. They go to a local person's home and they cook for you, and then you exchange your culture. Tell me about you. Tell me about you. And it was one of our most wonderful meals we had.
I believe it. And you get an actual firsthand account of the culture there and the experience that you get to have. And you get to share your experience too. I think that's pretty exciting.
They love that. There's people that their kids are grown up and they're like, well, let's just do this.
Oh.
I think we're like their 150th, 160th, group.
Yeah.
But I have people that go to Europe and the same experiences happen. They tell me, oh, we went to a family and they cooked for us and it was so wonderful. It's a really nice way to hear from a local.
I do love that. I mean, I love a 5-star meal. There's nothing wrong with that. But I love the sort of authentic experience you get from, like you said, not just a local, but just a nice person who's ready to welcome you into their home and make you something that they made themselves. But I mean, that's really
people were
sweet.
Friendly in both countries.
Yeah.
They were both really super friendly.
I love that. I love that they're glad that they're not like, oh, more tourists, like we want to be there and enjoy it as long as we are responsible and, clean up after ourselves.
Remember, they were shut down a lot longer than we were.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So, they were very, very happy when all their borders opened up.
Yeah, well, we are too, because now I can't wait to go. I'm very excited about that.
Yep.
Is there anything else that maybe you wanted to talk about? I'm especially interested in the travel portion in terms of making sure that I call you and have you help me with all these things. There's just so many things to think about when you travel. Again, I've only been domestically, but just the things that I'm thinking about when you're in New York from Virginia versus across the world. That's a whole different experience.
Well, I can actually tell you something you may not know.
Sure.
That it was really hard for us. Because, I knew maybe this was my last and only time to see, so I wanted to bring lots of souvenirs back.
Oh,
well, did you know that your carry-on bag, which is 45 pounds here, is 50 pounds in New Zealand and 15 pounds in Australia.
Oh.
So they actually will have you weigh your carry-on bag.
Ooh.
So you can't get away with it. Well, they probably won't do anything about that.
Right.
Yeah, they will.
So they're pretty serious about it then.
They're very serious about it. So, where you can have that, U.S. package, things that we're used to here, the big bag and the 45-pound bag, there you had to keep it. So we might as well had to start from the get-go. We only have 15 pounds to work with here. What do we put in this carry-on bag?
Because what happens if you travel all the way over?
A lot of people that I send there, they're like, oh, shocked. They had no idea that their carry-on bag was going to have to be so small.
Right.
So that's important.
Like chucking stuff out of the bag to make it fit at that point? Like,
that's important.
Oh my gosh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah. So
that's intense. Well, and what are, like, I always think about, if you're traveling to the UK, you need like the charger, your prongs are not going to fit their prongs kind of thing.
No.
And I assume it's the same way.
It's different.
down there.
It's different.
For down under.
We got the chunky new one. It's so funny. I had an old one and it didn't work. It was already too old to use. My husband went and bought the new one.
Too many updates.
So he was prepared more than I was.
I hope all the airports have those for you when you walk in.
So they have this big, you can order it on Amazon.
Good.
But it was a big chunky thing and we could put different things in that one chunky thing. So,
right.
Yeah, you have to have a totally different way of current there. So,
that's, oh man, the weight thing is so
different.
interesting. Yeah, really.
Different.
That's interesting.
But yeah, and it's a very long trip over. It took us 17 hours to go from Dallas, Fort Worth, direct to Melbourne.
Oh, wow.
But I would also tell your people who are listening, it's worth it to upgrade to that extra legroom seat.
I believe it on a 17-hour flight.
I'm not talking about business where you can have a bed to lay on, which is wonderful when you have the funds for that. Mm-hmm. But that elevated experience, because it was actually a seat in between business and main economy that had actually extra elbow room, and it had like a footrest. And, you had the speakers they give you and the whole 9 yards. The lady was so sweet that helped us the whole flight, that she gave us a hat and she gave us a deck of cards. She's like, oh, y'all have been wonderful. Like, well, you're wonderful. But the service was so good. We were on Qantas is who we went on. But yes, if you're definitely traveling that far of a distance, you need to have something bigger than just a small main economy seat.
Right.
Save up the money and pay for that seat because you'll have a much better experience.
A little bit upgrade, and then you'll be really ready to go when you land instead of like, untangling yourself from the seat.
So much better. So much better.
Excellent. Well, and you talked a lot about, you've traveled by airplane over New Zealand. You traveled by train. I mean, all of these things.
And boat.
I mean, yeah.
In the different, ones in New Zealand. So, yeah. You got to do a lot of
transportation.
Things.
You took all of it.
Yes.
So, and your Martin Travel is helping with all those experiences,
right.
Which, again,
we can do everything that you need.
Critical. There's no way I'm going to know how to do all that by myself. There's just no way.
Well, I've sold Australia, New Zealand for a long time.
Yeah.
But until you actually go there and experience yourself, I mean, it's not the first time my customers come and say, oh my gosh, you're getting me so excited, because what am I doing? I'm excited. I'm remembering all the memories I had on that trip, and they're getting excited about their upcoming trip. Makes a difference.
I'm ready to go.
Makes a huge difference.
I'm probably going to have to save up for a little bit until I can make that happen, because I want the extra leg room.
It's so worth it. So worth it.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Anything else you want to tell listeners, whether from as a travel experience, as a Martin travel agent? I mean, I just can't get over like this massive trip that just sounds so wonderful. I'm still back on your very first sentence, which is we landed in the airport and there were kangaroos next to us in the field. Like they're just hanging out. Yeah. That's your first experience.
Yeah. I can't reiterate more how people need to put Australia and New Zealand on their list. They often don't because they think it's just too far.
No way.
But it's so worth it. So many. If you are someone who's tired of seeing museums and things, beautiful buildings in Europe, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But if you want to have a totally different, elevated experience, Australia, New Zealand is the one.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So worth
it's
it.
amazing. Because we've done 3 like city trips and they were great. Again, museums, walking.
Nothing wrong with them.
Go. Sounds like you're going a lot in Australia, New Zealand too, but totally different sites and experiences.
Right.
And again, to sort of get out of that city hubbub and take a break and really enjoy some wildlife and scenery and some Lord of the Rings mountains,
I just thought of something I forgot about. When I was in one of the towns, we took a tram up. I think that was in Christchurch. Cute little town, by the way. And when we got to the top, there was this track that went all the way down the mountain. And it was in go-karts.
Okay, another one.
I didn't do that.
You didn't do that transportation.
But I watched people do it.
It sounds a little scary.
Like one of these... just like a go-kart, like you would that people run into, but they're running into each other.
Yeah.
They're just going down the mountain in it. So there's a lot of bungee jumping. We did see bungee jumping off of bridges. We saw those as we were going by as well.
I'd rather do the crocodiles.
Because that's something I know everybody has seen if they've been Googling adventures to do in New Zealand is bungee jumping.
For sure.
So yes, I would just say it's all put together in a very good package if you can do it with an escorted guide who really knows what they're talking about, and they know so much that I was like, how do you fit that in your brain to know
right?
all that stuff? So
well, it sounds...
We had a Kiwi. He was our director for the whole time, and he was our person who's still in New Zealand, but he was amazing.
I love that. And I love that, again, you've sort of nailed it so that anybody, no matter their background or experience or skill level, too, if I'm not a hiker, I can still enjoy every step I take there. Right. If you want a little city, you've got that. If you want the outdoors, plenty of that going around. And, of course, the wildlife, which is where I'll be. Because if it looks friend-shaped, that's probably where I am, trying to not hug it. Don't do that, but still.
So well worth it. It's such a diversity. Such a diversity.
Well, I can't wait. I hope you're with me on my trip. So we can walk through it together.
Call me and I'll help you with it.
I know. Very excited about that, Judy. Thank you so much for being here today. What an amazing experience. Stories and advice really help paint that vivid picture. I can't wait. It's going to be more than just a screensaver one day. I'm going.
You need to do it.
And if you're on the plane, you're probably sitting next to me, and we're going to nerd out over some Hobbit stuff. And then we're going to go to Australia and New Zealand. It's going to be a great time. But again, hopefully...
I have to send you some of my pictures, that's for sure.
Please do. Send me all a zillion of just the Shire. It's fine. But again, listeners, I hope you're inspired to start dreaming and planning your own bucket list adventure. That is just absolutely amazing. I know for me, I cannot wait for the day that I get to walk through New Zealand and Australia just myself. And to our listeners, if you'd like to learn more about planning your next great adventure, you can, of course, visit Martin Travel right here in Roanoke or online at martintravel.com. We'll list that on our website for you. And of course, don't forget to pick up the latest issue of the Roanoke for more stories that celebrate life, culture, and adventure right here in our region, but of course beyond. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with the traveler in your life. We'll be back soon with more conversations from people and stories that make our region shine. Until next time, this has been From Print to Podcast, where print comes to life, one great story at a time.